Hey, my name is Celeste, and welcome to this episode of Friday Sews, where we talk about sewing and a little bit of life. I hope that you are doing well this Friday. There's no sponsor for this video, but if it were sponsored, it would be sponsored by my antihistamines and water because, boy, and tissues. This week has been allergy season has kicked into full throttle. I mean, we had some great rain here in Florida, but where I live, the gutters are all yellow of all the pollen. And that has really taken its toll on me. So, so that's been a very interesting week in that regard. But what have I completed in my sewing room this week? Well, I have backed one of my t-shirts with the interfacing. I had like a little bit of longer pieces, so I'm going to try to see how this will do on my college t-shirt here. And that's what I've accomplished in the sewing world. Today is catch up on your ironing day in my household, and I've got it all stacked over there. I know you're envious of my day to get it done, but I'm thankful that I have a few hours this morning to complete it because we are getting ready to travel next week, and I want to make sure we have our ironing done so we're not doing that in the hotel room because sometimes those irons are not always the best. I did tackle one of my other sewing resolutions. This is not really sewing related, but it is craft related. So I had the big box, if you watched my video last week, a box of pictures that I'm trying to go through. And so I completed one page of my scrapbook. And this is me at the age of 8 when I went to go visit my aunt, my dad's sister, up in Pennsylvania. And she had massive gardens. I mean, this is a head of cabbage. It was the largest cabbage I had ever seen, and she was so tickled that it was actually bigger than me at age 8. And so thinking through that, because I've been trying to do more gardening, I really have gotten gardening skills from both sides of my family. My dad grew up on a dairy farm, and they had a large garden, and many of his siblings also had gardens. I know that we did. Growing up, we had a huge one when we were in Illinois that we grew all kinds of things. My mother was busy canning in those days. And then on my mom's side, her dad and mom had a huge garden. And even when I graduated from college, I remember going to visit him, my grandfather, and he had all these green beans. And so that was a great fun time that we had together picking green beans. And so he called me his green bean girl. But my grandmother, my mom's mom, she could resurrect anything. I remember going to a big box store. I think it was Kmart at the time. And she would go to the plants that they were discounting. I mean, heavily discounted because they were near death. And she would get them for like $0.25. I'm like, hey, grandmother, these are dead. And she said, oh, I don't think so. I think there's a little bit of life in them. And they were tomato plants. And I'm telling you what, she resurrected that tomato plant. And this is not exaggeration. The tomatoes were this large, and it was very, very, very prolific. And she was giving away tomatoes by the end of the summer season. So I don't think that I have those skills quite as good, but it's just, I guess, in my blood and in my genes, and it's very therapeutic. I'm enjoying getting out if I just didn't have to worry about all this allergy stuff. Ugh. But my garden is growing pretty well. I'll show you some video right here of some things that I noticed this morning in my garden. Good morning. I'm out here checking on my plants. It looks like maybe one of my lavender seeds has germinated. I didn't see any results earlier this week, so I have some in the refrigerator doing some cold stratification. So that's promising. Many of my carrot seeds are not coming up. Oh, but I see a new one there. So I had to replant some of them. So if they all start germinating, then I will have to thin them out. Oh, there's another one there. There's two. That's exciting. Let's see if there's anything on here. No. I transplanted some romaine lettuce, and they seem to be doing well after the transplant. This is my first time growing lettuce. So if you have any tips, please comment below. And then I am super excited about my dill. Last year I had a transplant and it just didn't last very long. And so I'm thrilled that so many of these seeds actually have germinated. And then over here, many of my carrot seeds have also germinated.